Hello and welcome again to the Yellow Learn YouTube channel. This is the bag that we're going to be making in today's tutorial. So this is a bag that features just one zip compartment to the major bag. It is a very big bag that can contain your daily essentials. So these are the materials that we're going to be using for the bag. These are the main panels. So we have for the front and for the back, and this is the lining that we're going to be making use for this bag. So I'll fold that aside. Then this is the base panel. That's the wide one. The longer one is the handle for the bag. We also have our accessories. We'll be using two square rings. We have ring holders and then our chain. Okay. So for the measurements, the main panel measures 16.5 inches in length and 12 inches in height. Okay, so it is the same for the front and for the back. Then for the base, that is 12 inches by 4.5 inches. And then what you're going to be measuring is on your paper board. Okay, so your cardboard, that's what you're going to use to measure for your base. Then the handle is 20 inches by 3.5 inches. The ring holder is 1.5 inches by 3 inches. For the base, you use your cardboard to cut out your leather. Cut it in such a way that you have enough allowance on all the sides in order to fold. You apply your gum on the cardboard as well as on the leather that you're going to be sticking it on. That's the leather that you cut for the base of the bag. So once you're done applying your gum, you stick both of them together. Ensure that the allowance you left on all the sides, you maintain that allowance because you're going to need it in order to fold around the edges of the cardboard. So apply your gum once again on the edges of the cardboard so that your leather can stick to it. After you've applied glue to the edges, you're going to fold it. So you're only going to fold on the two sides, that's on the two lengthy sides. Just as you can see me doing this video, just fold on the two sides and that's all. So it's going to look neat on the exterior just like this. So mark the midpoint of the cardboard. That's what the cardboard paper you're using. You find the midpoint and then you mark it. Also for your main panel, you're going to fold into two and mark the midpoint. So that is where you're going to use to join it to the base. Also, you're going to take your main panel and then you're going to measure 1.5 inch to the side. So measure 1.5 inch to the side and slant downwards. So do the same thing for the second side. So I'm going to place the two panels on each other, the two main panels on each other, and then we're going to cut along the lines of the slants. So on one of the panels at the top part, which is the one with the tinier part, so the base part is the wider one, while the top part is the tinier one, you're going to measure 1/2 inch to the sides, 1/2 inch from the top and 1/2 inch from the side, and you're going to cut it out like a box, just the way you see me doing this video. So you do the same thing for the second side as well as the second panel. In order to stitch it all together, we're going to start with the handle for the bag. So you're going to fold the handle just the way you see me do in this tutorial. So just fold the handle this way and then you're going to top stitch on it. So once you're done stitching one side, then you top stitch on the second side of the handle as well. So here we have the handle for the bag, and the next thing is to fix the ring for the bag. So we're going to be using the square ring and just fix the ring and top stitch again on it. So you fold the handle around the ring and then you top stitch on it. So you do that carefully. Because it was too bulky, I had to sew it with the back stitch. That's with the reverse stitch. So however convenient for you for your sewing machine, that's how you sew your handle. Just ensure to stitch it together so that the handle is held in place. It is held in the ring. So we have our handle in place. We're going to set that aside. And the next thing that we're going to do now is to stitch the base to the main panel. So the parts where we marked as the midpoint, you're going to align them together. So the midpoint of the base as well as the midpoint of the main panel, you're going to align that together, and then you're going to stitch top stitch on the base. So you're going to do the same thing for the second side. So this is how the stitch came out. Then you do the same thing for the second side as well. You align the midpoints as marked. So that it is straight and then it is well aligned at the midpoint, so that you don't have a bag that is misaligned. Okay, then you top stitch on the base. This is what it is going to look like, and your lining will now fit perfectly on it. So next thing that you're going to do is to place the zip on it. So you're going to stitch your zip cloth to the top part of the main panel. So the other side of the zip, you stitch it to the top side of the second main panel. Also, once you're done stitching that together, next thing that you're going to do is to open it up and place your lining on it. So you're going to place the lining facing the right side of the main panel, and then you're going to stitch again at the top. So this ensures that the zip is sandwiched between the main panel, that's the leather, and the lining. So you do the same thing for the second side. Ensure that it is well placed, that the main panel, the leather is well placed on the lining, and then you stitch. So once you're done doing that on the wrong side, you're going to turn it to the right side. So turn it into the right side, and you're going to top stitch on the leather. So you top stitch on the leather, you place the zip very well underneath the leather. Ensure that it is well placed, and then you are going to top stitch on the leather. So once you're done top stitching, that is how it looks. And then you do the same thing for the second side as well. So here you are now going to trim off the excess lining that is showing on the edges. So trim the lining to match with the main panel of the bag. So once you're done trimming the lining, next thing is to put your zip end. So you're going to pass your zipper through the zip. So pass it through it once. Ensure that it comes off on the second side. Then you pass it through it again. So if you're using an iron zip like I'm using in this video, there is a direction to which the arrow faces, and that is the direction to which you bring your zipper pull through. So you take your ring holder and the handle that we made earlier, you fold your ring holder and you pass it through the ring. Ensure that it is well folded. And then you stitch it to the top of the bag, that's to the zip part. So the zip part marks the midpoint of the top part of the bag. We're going to stitch it to the edge so that it is held in place. So once you're sure that it is well stitched to the zip part, you're also going to do the same thing for this other side. That's for the second side of the handle. So you place the ring holder through it. And then you stitch it to the top part of the bag. That's to the middle part, which is definitely on the zip. So you can just gum your ring holder in place. So this one was giving me a bit of issues folding it, but it's something that I could have avoided if I gummed it. So we have the handle fixed already to the back, and then you're going to turn it to the wrong side again. So turn it to the wrong side and separate the leather from the lining. Then you bring the sides together, then you're going to stitch. You can stitch from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top, however convenient for you. Just stitch the sides. Then you do the same thing for the lining as well. But before we stitch the lining, you're going to sew the base part of the bag. So just follow what I do here in the video in order to sew the base. So cut off the excess away. So once you're done with the leather part, then you're going to do the same thing for the lining as well. So just the same way that you stitched the leather, that's the same way you're going to stitch the lining. So stitch the sides first. Then for the second side of the bag, you're not going to stitch it all. So you're going to leave allowance that enables you to be able to turn the bag inside out. Okay, so just stop the stitch halfway and then you continue at the bottom. So that little allowance in the middle helps you to be able to turn the bag inside out. Then you fold the base part as well, and then you're going to measure 4.5 inches. So the width of the base is going to be 4.5 inches. Then you cut off the excess. Do the same thing for the second side of the lining. Mark 4.5 inches and then stitch. So once you're done with that, next thing is to stitch the top part of the bag. So that part where you inserted your D-ring through, you're going to stitch it. So the same way you folded for the bottom is also the same way you will fold for the top. So ensure that the lining is also placed on the other side while the leather is placed on the other side as well. So both of them are going to be facing each other, taking the same form, and then you stitch. So you do the same thing for the second side. So as you do for the lining, you also do for the leather as well. They're going to take the same form and then be opposite each other, and then you stitch. So once you're done with that, the next thing is to turn the bag inside out. So that's tiny hole on the lining, that's where you're going to use. Then you open up the zip. Just find the zip, open it up on the inside, and then turn out your bag through that tiny opening. Okay, so once you have it this way, you're going to close up that tiny part. So that tiny opening, you're going to close it up. So you fold the rough edges of the lining inwards and then you stitch. So you're going to top stitch that end of the lining. So advisably, you should use the exact color of your lining. So in this case, I should have used black. But because it's a tutorial, I just wanted to continue with the flow. That was why I used the same color that I was using for the main panels of the bag. So by the time you turn the bag inside out, this is what you're going to have. And that is how we came about the bag. I really love that the bag is big and very spacious. So you're just going to add your chain for beautification. So the chain just serves as an accessory to further add to the details. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not yet subscribed. See you in our next tutorial. Our 6-week mentorship training is now open for registration. The link is in the description.